Hey everybody, Polish Pete here for BassUtopia. Today I'm going to talk to you about spinning reels and a trend we're seeing happen in the fishing industry across the board with all manufacturers, not just the Daiwa ones I'm talking about here today. If you look at some of the best spinning reel anglers on the planet, and this includes the walleye market, crappie fishermen, and mostly in the bass fishing world, you're seeing a trend to run larger size spinning reels. I believe there's several different reasons for it. We're going to go over a few of them today. But what I wanted to do is kind of give you a visual of what we're talking about here. The most common size spinning reel sold across the board, multi-species, is a 2500 size spinning reel, a 25 from some manufacturers, but it'd be this size reel. This right here is a Daiwa Ballistic and a 2500. If you look at the size of the reel, it's small, it's lightweight, it's the perfect size if you're not 100% sure what you're going to be fishing for, and you're someone who sticks to a certain type of line that traditionally you fish on a spinning reel, like 6 to 8 pound test monofilament or 10-pound braided line and down. This has been the staple size spinning reel across the board through almost every manufacturer. What we've seen of late is a drift all the way up to the 4,000 size. The 4,000 size spinning reels from Daiwa here in this example are actually coming in at weights that are lower than what a 2500 a couple years ago weighed. So that's one factor in why someone would bump up in size. The other big factor being that the spool diameter is so much larger that you're gaining a lot of spool speed, or you're gaining a lot of line recovery speed, I should say. So every time I turn the handle on this reel, I'm taking in a lot more line because I'm wrapping around that line around a larger surface area. So when you're using a spinning rod, almost all the time you're fighting that fish with the rod itself, not with the reel. Whereas with a bait caster, you're kind of cranking as hard as you can and kind of pulling that line in and pulling that fish in with the reel and letting the rod just stay loaded up. With a spinning reel, you tend to use the rod to kind of collect that line up and use the spinning reel to keep that rod's action bent towards that fish. And you're using, because you're using typically lighter line, you're letting that rod fight that fish. With a faster one, it allows you to keep that rod's action, the softer action of the spinning rod, bent in and keep that hook placement in that fish's mouth. So you got your spool speed there, the new weights that we're seeing. The other major factor is underneath these caps here are drag washers. Okay, now if you look at in the world of cars, right? A brake rotor on a car, the larger that brake rotor, the more stopping power they have, and also more smooth and consistent power they have. So if you look at a race car behind the wheel on a race car, the brake rotor is enormous, it's giant. That's the same theory as a drag washer in the spool of a spinning reel. So the larger that surface, the smoother the drag's going to be, and the more consistent it's going to be, and the more stopping power it has. So if you just picture how large those washers are going to be in these two different spools, even with lighter line, there's advantages to having that large, oversized stopping surface of a 4,000 size spinning reels drag washers. This goes across the board, like I said, for every manufacturer. I know my buddy Josh Douglas with Shimano, he's running 4,000 size spinning reels. You've got Seth and Brent Ayler and Cody Meyer and guys all across the board that are expert drop shot fishermen, all running the larger size spinning reels now for all of those features I stated and more. So next time you're shopping for spinning reels, don't be afraid to think outside the box and get away from those smaller size spinning reels we've traditionally used and pick up a 4,000 size spinning reel. I bet you find yourself wishing you had more of them.